across this video on X and I just decided to just record this because this is the definition of just absolutely psyoped out, right? And when I say psyoped out, this is my new word. Like, I genuinely feel that people on the left and people on the right are a victim of circumstance, and they're the victim of psyops. And you can do research on this. If you are in a group or situation where questioning something that the leadership is doing and it becomes a problem, or people start calling you names or going after you or doxing you, were a part of a psyop. You are a part of a operation that is intent on a movement. And this is particularly very prevalent within the BLM movement or Black. This is very relevant in Black Americans, especially in today's culture. And I would go a long way to say that this is not every Black person. I'm not this is I'm not a Nick Fuentes, right? I'm not gonna just say one person speaks for the rest, right? There are smart Black people out here that do great things for a lot of people. It's fantastic. But this right here is the prime example of just absolutely complete nonsense, bullshit, psyop stuff. So let's just play this out. This is a Rutgers professor says that whiteness is going to have an end date. We got to take these motherfuckers out, whatever that means.
That white people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? The real sort of issue here, and I've heard people sort of say it, is one, I think that white people viscerally fear. It's not that white people don't know, right, what they have done. They know. They fear that.
What did they do? Like, this is the problem. You can't just say like if you're talking about like slavery, like in the South, slavery was it wasn't even in the North. There were millions of white people that lived in the North that didn't have slaves. Britain and other countries had banned slaves, but slavery in the South was being funded by Britain the entire time. But is that like every white person that exists in current day America on January 2026 should feel some sort of way because somebody may or may not have an ancestor that sold some slaves? Whatever.
That there is no other way to be human but the way in which they are human, which is to, so, like you talk to white people and whenever you really want to have a reckoning about it, they say stuff like, it's just human nature. If y'all had all of this power, you would have done the same thing, right?
Can you give me a quote? Who said that? Was that Trump? Joe? Who said that? Sounds like you just made this shit up in your head.
Right? And it's like, no, that's what white humans did. White human beings thought there's a world here and we own it. Prior to them, Black and brown people have been sailing across oceans, interacting with each other for centuries without total subjugation, domination.
You listen, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Saying that there's a world where like white men are just like, just dominating everything, right? And Black people and brown people all across the world just they're out. So they didn't conquer each other. There weren't wars in North America and South America with the Aztecs. The Indians in America weren't brutalizing each other and going after each other yearly and year out. Or that just doesn't exist. The white man showed up and just made it worse. No, they gave them guns, and you see what's going on today. I'm just a little confused at what we're talking about here.
And colonialism. We have seen what a show this iteration of treatment of other human beings means, and that my hope is that we would do it differently, in the moments when we have some power. We will not do it perfectly, but I do think that all of us can sort of agree that a politics that says like there are superior and inferior human beings just isn't the way to go.
What politics are those? What are you talking about? Is it in one of those bullshit ass books you got back there? What are you talking about?
And that's the thing that trust us to do, because they are so corrupt. Their thinking is so morally and spiritually bankrupt about power that they can't they fear viscerally, existentially letting go of power, because they cannot imagine that there's another way to be. It is either that you dominate or you are dominated.
This sounds a little anti-Semitic, doesn't it? That's a little sounds like the same shit that the white people are saying about the other little class of possible white, brown, those people, the juice boxes. Yeah, that sounds a little anti-Semitic. Yeah, got one eye closed. You look angry.
And isn't it sad that is spiritually who they are, and that they can't imagine a sort of more expansive notion of the world? The thing I want to say to you is we got to take these motherfuckers out. But I know, but like we can't.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Can you want to know how you create racist white people? By doing and acting like this. You're literally not living in reality. You're in a cult. You're in a psyop. You're in a group that has one way of thinking and there's no other way out of it. I promise you, if you went somewhere in a cabin for 3 months and just like read the Bible and like maybe the Quran or whatever you want and just like found yourself, I promise you would be able to break away from this. This is cult-like thinking. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Can't say that, right? We can't say, like, I don't believe in a project of violence. I truly don't, because I think in the end that our souls suffer from that.
So how do you take them out? You just paint streets and burn houses and businesses down when you don't get your way, which is another psyop funded by George Soros. But like, what's your plan there?
And I do think that some of this is a spiritual condition. So here is where I land most days about white people. And I actually have been helped in this by thinking about indigenous people, right? See, part of the challenge around whiteness is that it totally skews our view of everything, right? I gave this like TED talk about this some years back, and one of the reasons I was trying to think.
There's people that listen to this shit. There's people that listen to this. Like, are you serious? People pay or go to school to listen to this? No, bro. No wonder we needed to fund all the colleges and get rid of this shit. Like, this is insane.
Think about it. It's like the world didn't start when white people arrived in America and tried to tell all the rest of us how things were going to go.
America started that way, you dumb hoe. That's how it started. They did show up over here and just establish it. You just got to accept it. What is wrong with accepting that? I don't have a problem. I'm biracial. I'm half slave, half German. My family fought in the Civil War, died at Gettysburg. I got the flag and everything. I don't even care. Like, I don't live in this world. I don't live in this little mock MLK psyop world right here where nothing makes sense. You're saying we need to take these motherfuckers out, but you're like, but I don't condone violence. It's a spiritual thing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
There were people out here making worlds, Africans and indigenous people being brilliant, and, libraries and inventions and, vibrant notions of humanity and cross-cultural exchange long before white people showed up being raggedy and violent and terrible and trying to take everything from everybody. And that's really important.
Again, you sound a little anti-Semitic, my lady. Who are you talking about? What are you talking about? Who are you talking about? You got to give a culture and a name. We talking about the Portuguese that sold slaves, talking about the French that sold. What are you talking about? What country? You can't just say all white people. Not all white people did this shit. Just like not all white people that fought in the South were fighting to keep slaves. That's another lie, another psyop. What are we talking about?
Because if we believe that history starts for us when white people drag us to these shores, then we can never get outside of the notion that this is going to be our existential struggle. All things that begin end. White folks are not infinite and eternal. right? They ain't gonna go on for.
You wanna know what's funny about this? In her previous statement, like the same kings and all these people that had libraries and did all this, they all had African slaves, right? That they had bought and sold from other tribes. And the Portuguese showed up with coffee and guns and all kinds of shit, cannons. And these kings and queens in Africa, partly in Ghana, wanted all of that shit that came from Europe. So what they did is they accepted the central banking system and all that stuff that came with being associated with these European oligarchs, and they sold slaves. And those slaves were sold all the way across the South America, right? There were more slaves probably in Brazil than there were even in America. And they went in and how do you think Anderson Silva gets here? You think there's just black people? No, he's a descendant of a slave, right? This is not hard to like. I don't know what you're reading, Ms. Ma'am, Ms. Ain't Your Mama.
Infinity and infinity. That's super important to remember, that white colonialism and imperialism has a beginning, and in my way of thinking about the world, that means it has an end. And so part of what we are trying to do is to imagine what are the steps that we must take to get to the other side of this very inconvenient, epochal interruption of like black and indigenous world making.
I just listened to like the last 30 seconds of this, and I have no clue what you're just jumbling words together. Like, what are you talking about?
Side of this very inconvenient, epochal interruption of like black and indigenous world making. I mean, does that give people comfort on the day to day when you like just having to deal with white folks and the
Yes, I love white people. My wife is white. I'm half white. I love white people. I love black people too. I love all people. I don't walk around here like, oh, white man keeping me down. That's not how life works. Get up off your ass and go to work and stop complaining.
the travesties that they create and the sense that they want to destroy the planet. Nah, they're
destroy the planet. What? Either Elon Musk is trying to take us off the planet. I can't wait for the first Negro in space. And I wanted to be a hood nigga
on the earth. And so whiteness is going to have an end date, because it is not, despite what white people think of themselves, they do not defy the laws of eternity, right? Their projects are not so sophisticated.
Yeah, because when you die and go to heaven, there's going to be a white line and a black line. And the black people are going to be like, we told y'all so, you white devils. You white people. Victims.
That the natural laws of physics change for them, and when we sort of humble them humble our own understanding.
She needs to go on Joe Rogan with the way she's talking. I don't know what this hoe talking about, bro.
Understandings of whiteness is
the intergalactic space program. Black people ain't even the spiritual realm of it, basically what it is,
It seems like the biggest giant that we face, but in the end, right, it is what I like to say is, black folks were out here for centuries and centuries and millennia doing all kinds of wonderful things, and probably some fucked up things too, but whiteness.
Yeah, I'm glad you admitted that shit. Yeah. Africa is the pillar of what we should all try to be, you know what I mean? Try to be like Somalia, dude.
Is largely
just starve your people and then be like Africa.
An inconvenient interruption. And so we then get to ask ourselves, so why am I here in this moment of it? Like, damn, why did I show up in this particular iteration? And it's like, well, I think we showed up in this iteration precisely so that we could.
So are you saying that like black people are like some type of hive mind, and we just jump bodies to try to fix racism in each century? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're trying? You spent the last 3 minutes talking about absolute nonsense.
Help to figure out an end and a way to the other side of this, gargantuan historical tragedy.
If you made it to the end of this video and you feel that you have gained the knowledge that you need to understand white supremacy, hit the follow and the subscribe button. I'm going to go outside and yeah, I'm in this video. This
opposed to secret society, to secret oath.